Welcome back to the virtual hangar. Today I'm going to show you everything you need to know to take the ingredients in your DIY spa night kit and make a bath bomb and a lotion bar. So the first thing you're going to need is a large bowl, and you'll also need a heat resistant bowl. A stainless steel bowl or a glass bowl will work. You'll also need a small microwave safe bowl. A whisk or a fork would be fine, and then a plate to put your finished bath bomb onto while it dries. You might also need some food coloring. It's completely optional. So the first thing we're going to do is start a double boiler. If you've never used a double boiler before, it used to be a thing they actually sold like a machine for your kitchen, but you can make one really easily by just putting a pan on the stove and bringing the water to the boil over high heat. Once it's boiling, you want to turn it down to medium or medium-low so it's just at a simmer, and then you put your heat-resistant bowl right on top of it. You want to make sure there's not so much water in the pan that it touches the bottom of the bowl, but otherwise this is the easiest way to heat things that might be sensitive to being overheated. So we've just added our coconut oil. Next we add our shea butter here. And then as soon as we've added that, we're going to also add our beeswax. So once all three ingredients are in the pot and you've emptied the bags to the best of your ability, you just let them hang out on the double boiler until they melt. You want to stir them occasionally with your whisk, but if you don't, eventually it will all melt together. The thing about the double boiler is it heats indirectly, so they're not getting heat directly applied to the ingredients, and that prevents them from burning. That's the benefit of using the double boiler. You can try and do this in the microwave, but I would not recommend it. So you can see here all the ingredients are melted, and then once they're all melted together, the last thing we're going to do is very carefully add about half of the essential oil from your little cup. You're going to need the other half for the bath bomb. Once you've added your essential oil, go ahead and give it a little bit of a stir just to get it all nice and incorporated. And then you're going to pour it really carefully into your silicone mold. You might want to put it directly on the plate, put the silicone mold on top of the plate, and then pour this. It's a little bit difficult, especially if you are gutsy and you want to fill your mold up as high as you can. And then go ahead and transfer that to the refrigerator. Now we're going to start our bath bomb by adding all the dry ingredients to our very, very big bowl. Mine happens to be the same as the one I used for our lotion bar, but it doesn't have to be. So the first thing I added was the bag labeled SLSA, and then I'm going to add the baking soda, and then I am going to add the last dry ingredient, which is citric acid. So after you get all three of those bags emptied in, you're going to want to take your whisk and make sure they're all nice and evenly mixed up. And then you're going to kind of pat it with your whisk to try and break up any lumps. You don't want any lumps, and you want it all to be evenly mixed. Once you've got that done, we're going to take our microwave safe bowl and add our coconut oil. So there was 2 bags of coconut oil. You use 1 for the first recipe, and then you're going to use 1 for this recipe. So we're taking our coconut oil and just go ahead and put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Once it's melted, this is when you're going to want to add your food coloring. If you have gel, it doesn't really work very well to add into the coconut oil, as you can tell. The liquid drops. You do want to add some, but just be careful. You don't want to add a ton. Don't add the whole little thing. So here we're going to very carefully add the rest of our essential oil. And then go ahead and toss that or put the lid back on, that's fine. And then give it a little bit of a mix one more time. And you'll be able to tell how much food coloring at this next stage when we go to add our coconut oil mix into our dry ingredients. You want to make sure that you're kind of whisking as you add it in. You don't really want the coconut oil to just pool in the middle of this mix. So make sure you are working quickly and just keep mixing until this entire thing, everything is incorporated into the coconut oil. It's going to be pretty lumpy for the first half of the mix, but just keep working at it. Use your fingers, use your fork. You can see I'm kind of doing a stabbing kind of motion here with the whisk to break up the big lumps. But once you have it all mixed together and incorporated, it's going to feel like wet sand, and it should pretty much clump together when you use your hand. That's how you'll know that you've got it mixed enough. I'm actually going to just use my hand here and finish mixing it all together just to make sure it's really good and well incorporated. Once you are satisfied with your mix, again, it'll feel like wet sand. It'll kind of stick to your hand a little bit. I maybe used a little bit too much food coloring, but it's going to get really diluted in the bathtub, so you don't have to worry about that. Once your mix is all done and incorporated, go ahead and just take your hands and make a big snowball. You want to squeeze pretty hard towards the center of where your two hands are meeting. That's what's going to help you keep this all together into one ball instead of it just becoming a bunch of little clumps. And as you just rotate it slightly and keep squeezing towards the center, eventually it will round out and become a nice smooth ball. And you can see I didn't use all of the mixture, but I didn't want to make a huge mess all over my counter trying to get all of it. You could try and get all of it certainly if you would like to, but this will be plenty of a big bath bomb that'll make a nice fizzy colorful bath for you. You do want to just set it on your plate. I put mine on the top of my refrigerator and then I let it rest for at least a night. And then after a couple of hours in the refrigerator, we can take our silicone mold off of our lotion bar, and you can see how nice it is, and when you hold it like this, it will start to melt in your hand. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact us on social media. I'd love to answer them and see what you make, and I will see you next time.